Good evening once again, everyone, and welcome to IELTS program. Today, I would like to chiefly accentuate on Part 3 speaking questions. With a great exuberance and optimism, I would like to start the first question from the floor, from candidate number 1. Over to you. The question is?
My question for you is, do you think healthcare should be free?
Well, healthcare is absolutely very crucial and it's a basic fundamental right for every person in the world. But I'm sure, since human beings, we all citizens of the country are paying all our respective taxes to the government. In lieu of that, we definitely expect the healthcare to be absolutely free of cost, because obviously it's very important and government must have certain liability for the common people as well. Considering the fact that the health cost is shooting through the roof, it is very, very high. It's skyrocketing in every country of the world, not just in our country. And obviously, a number of people are holding insurance policies also, the Mediclaims, but they do not get complete reimbursement. And what about the people who indeed are below the poverty line? They definitely would sometimes die because of the fact that they don't have the quality treatment accessible to them. So considering the urgency or the exigency, it's very appropriate and paramount on the part of the governments to make the healthcare affordable and at the same time be more accessible for every person in the country. Thank you. The next question over to you.
Question is, do you think the computer will replace teacher one day?
Well, I don't think so. Computers will ever replace human teachers because human brain definitely possesses all the grey essential matter, which indeed is very, very important. And at the same time, this grey matter is responsible for all the intellectual functions. Obviously, it's the human brain which has introduced the technology and not the vice versa. So under these circumstances, I feel none of these robotic teachers would ever replace human teachers, because what they can do in the live classroom, the kind of personal touch they can give, the way they can make students understand concepts, and they have a critical reasoning, obviously, with which students can understand. So now I would like to invite the next question. Over to you.
What social problems are there in your country?
Well, there are various problems which we can find in a country. For instance, illiteracy, poverty, lack of health, sanitization, and various other problems which indeed can be found. For instance, infrastructural crisis and many other problems. And the panacea to all these problems is sound will of the government to solve these problems. So I feel it's very important for the governments to definitely be able to invest into the nation and make it par excellence, and I'm sure with which we definitely can expect better services from the governments, because we are the taxpayers and we indeed are entitled for the best facilities, and which is why we should be the recipient here. Thank you. Next question, over to you.
At what age people are happiest?
Well, this is a bit, I would say, entangling question when it comes to at what age people are happy. I believe there is no specific age to happiness. As a child or as an adolescent, you can be happy. As an adult or even as an elderly lord, you can feel happy. It's basically more of a state of mind than just, an age group that is perhaps responsible for making an individual feel euphoric or ecstatic. So it can be just a state of mind. I believe children who indeed have got great love of their parents, so they can have a golden childhood and the most euphoric stage of life. If you get married to a person whom you love the most and he definitely keeps you the most ecstatic, obviously you will feel the most elated person in the world. So in case if you have a healthy children who love and respect you, you are again the most, I would say, elated or ecstatic individual of the world. So it is more of like a state of mind in my perception than just mere the age. Thank you. Yes, next question, over to you. Second row.
So my question for you is, do you think internet has changed the way we live?
Internet has changed the way we live. Obviously, it has revolutionized the world many folds. Today, we believe that every single thing is just touching a button away. And we indeed have relying so much on automation, and AI or robotic sciences are part and parcel of our life. So definitely every aspect of life has been changed. It's just not the official, but even though on the domestic front, we have seen absolute transition and so much of sophistication, luxury, comfort. And at the same time, our lives are becoming more passive and sedentary also, because we are inviting new health hazards also with the passing day. So these are both, I would say, the pros and cons, the harms and charms of this indeed. Thank you. The next question now, over to you.
Do you think famous people have a responsibility to act as role model for the younger generation?
Absolutely, very good question. That famous people have the responsibility to access true role models, and I believe it's very important because they are famous, they're influential, And there are certain attributes which make them prominent, and hence they should possess all these vital characteristics which can make them a sound and responsible celebrities to the world. And if they are paragons or role models, they should definitely behave in a way which is socially acceptable, and they should never cross the line, and at the same time, they should always make sure that they should always remain influential because people follow them, and which is why it's very important that they should always have the right conduct, demeanor, attire, because they indeed are living in glass houses and every single thing is visible from all sides. So hence they should always remain absolutely true to their characters and to their individuality and become sound role models for generation next. Thank you. Next.
So my question to you is, do you think more should be done to protect natural beauty spots in your country?
Yes, obviously a lot more is to be done to protect the natural beauty spots because humans definitely are vandalizing and sabotaging the entire planet. There is always a difference between need and greed, and human beings, because of their selfish pursuits, have truly vandalized the nature. And under these circumstances, we see thoughtless exploitation, too much industrialization, urbanization programs. But what we are losing, obviously, is nothing but our own space, that is the nature. And today, we see the toxins and we see so much of hazardous chemicals, and at the same time, everything that has become venomous. So I believe it's an intrinsic objectivity and duty rather to protect the nature, to safeguard it, because without nature we have no life. So that's why I believe there's no point in spending multi-million dollars on other planets when our planet is suffering so much today. So I close down this topic by saying, if not Earth, then where? If not now, then when? And if not you, then who? So we need to find answers to these questions and definitely create a sustainable and livable planet for you, for me, and for the generation next. Thank you.
Main environment problem in your country?
Well, there are many problems which we are facing, So as I covered a moment back as well, that we definitely have got environmental pollution, which indeed has become the major crisis for the world today, particularly even our country, India as well. Apart from that, there are many other problems also which we are facing, but this is what is topping the list, and hence we need to definitely be able to address the solutions to find a panacea to this issue. And a lot more is to be done by each one of us collectively, and we need to pay heed to the warning given by the environmentalists who indeed have who have been constantly telling us and explaining us what more we can do to be in a damage control mode and create a better and more innocuous planet. Thank you. Next we have is,
Do you think TV influences the way we think?
TV influences the
Way we think.
way to think. Absolutely. Obviously, television is very important, and I believe obviously it's on one side called as an idiot box, but it is also a great source of knowledge and wisdom to the world. So that is the reason we all indeed embark so much for an entertainment with that we can get 24/7. And obviously it influences our thinking because broadly it just gives us information about every aspect sphere of the modern world. It has got so much to cater to the people of almost every age group, from a child to an adult and to an elderly lot. So that's why it definitely sways our mind, thoughts and actions, and we definitely embark so much on television for any clear-cut information, and thereby we can formulate opinions, So that's why I believe it is very still a great source of entertainment and wisdom available to us. Next, over to you.
These days.
Absolutely, it's a good question about the skills that we need to get a good job in the modern world. Well, obviously, there are certain skills apart from academics which we need to possess. Obviously, we need to be loquacious, garrulous, have great team spirit, aptitude and attitude both in terms of taking up a sound job in the world. And at the same time, it's very important for us to be super efficient, result and target oriented, create a space and make the organization to grow by leaps and bounds. And maybe we can definitely ourselves have exponential growth with that. So these are the basic attributes which indeed will make a person successful at his or her respective job. Thank you. And the last two questions from the floor, over to you.
Describe an ambition that you have for a long time.
Well, my mission for a long time is obviously to do something more for the environment. As a teacher, I definitely am doing a lot to blow back to the lives of a lot of people by making their careers. At the same time, I have my respective organization which indeed works a lot for animals also at large. But somewhere down the line, I still believe that I can do a lot more for environment, particularly promoting greenery and doing a lot more in terms of spreading awareness among Generation Next that how much they can do to cultivate much more to the nature, to the environment, because pollution is the biggest problem. So we all need to collectively share the responsibility to do something and each one plant one. So I'm definitely persuading every person to go green, and I believe I need to carry forward this mission, and I'm sure on each festival I like to plant many trees, and I believe it's very important. Rather, I love to give sapling than anything else to anyone in the world, and that is what I believe we need, because we are directly proportionate to the nature. And that's why if you gift plants, you in return gift the fruit, flower, shelter, and protection, and that's very important for us. So this is what is my mission, to make the planet more ethereal, more livable, and more exquisite.